Oh, hey, you're watching Gamescom Studio here on IGN. Chronicles Medieval is the brand new action game I cannot wait to play. It looks so good. Here to tell us all about it, Sam and Gareth from Raw Power. What's up, dudes?
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you.
Good to see you too. So give the audience sort of an overview of this game, because I love the sort of sense of scale that we're playing with here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Chronicles Medieval is an action RPG strategy hybrid. We're blending a lot of genres in there, mixing a lot of things. So we're a medieval sandbox. We're authentic to the 14th century time period. And we're all about you as an army commander getting stuck into the battlefield, commanding big armies of troops. But also this exploration, strategy, roleplay is all a big factor as well.
Yeah, a really big key point of difference for us is our historical setting, 1313 to 1348. Which is like very much grounded in Europe. So everything is historically authentic as possible.
Where did the idea of like hyper-focusing on this very specific time period and turning it into a video game come from? What's the origins of that?
So I think we're a lot of medieval nerds at Raw Power Games. So I mean, we love the time period in general. For that specific time period, I mean, it's such a fascinating cross point of history there. England, France, Holy Roman Empire, super fascinating differences between them, a lot of internal politics, things like the 100 Years' War breaking out, these really big events that really left their mark on European history. So it's just a really fascinating time to delve into, I think.
Yeah, and things like technology, the feudal hierarchy, all of these things are so rich. They're like so ripe for game features and enjoyable experiences that it's like, it's there for the picking. You're like, it's hard to filter out all of the ideas that they give you as a game designer. You know, it's so rich, it's so awesome. It was such a cool period. So yeah, it's just very exciting.
You guys are genuinely geeked out about this. I love that. It's like infectious. It's awesome. One of the things I really love looking at this game about is this sort of sense of scale. It starts off really massive and then comes in really close for combat. Tell me a little bit about that push and pull, because a lot of games just kind of go, hey, you're all the way up here, you're kind of the eye of God or whatever. But you guys are like, no, we also want to get really gritty, really down to earth, roll around in the mud, stabbing people and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is very much a role-play game. You are this commander on the battlefield. So, you know, before the battle starts, you know, you could give some commands, some strategy, some tactics to your troops. But in the thick of battle, you know, you're not God. You can't oversee what is going on at all times. You are just a mere mortal on that battlefield as well, right? So we really wanted to have that push and pull, that play of you setting up your tactics, being able to command your troops, you know, these thousands of men that are under your command. And how are you going to make the best use out of their specialities and the advantages you have? How are you going to play those cards right? But also, you are the tip of the spear, right? You are sword in hands. You're charging in. You're getting stuck in. You're immortal. You know, you are not some fantasy warlord that can strike everyone down. You're just as vulnerable. But you can inspire those men, right? If they see their commander getting stuck in, performing amazing feats, they're going to feel inspired. And that's all mechanics in the game that you can leverage to your best ability to be able to win these battles.
Yeah, it's all about playing that mixture of commander, but also boots on the ground, swinging your sword. Maybe your favorite thing is the poleaxe. So if you use the poleaxe, you gain experience with that. You unlock combos, you unlock special attacks, and you can really, really devastate enemies' morale because you're there in your shining armor. You're this excellent guy. If your men see you slaughtering enemies, they get inspired and they get fearful. So you want to both make sure you have a well laid out plan, but then you also really want to get stuck in. And you can do both on the fly. We have a little bit of time dilation in our command mode, which was like a little bit of slow down time, which was kind of like a breakthrough moment for us, because when the chaos of war is underway, you just need that like momentary breather. So that's kind of as godlike as it gets. There's a little bit of a gamification moment for you to be able to be like, okay, my left flank is breaking, give me a second to react and send in some reinforcements, or I'll start moving over there now that I've seen this so I can start inspiring the troops in that area, kind of thing.
The inspiring and morale mechanic is like blowing my mind right now. That is, so where did the idea come from to be like, hey, these people, you know, they're like really hyped on this, but also now they're watching people getting devastated and torn apart, and they're like, why am I here? Like, I love that system.
And it's very much a fact of history, essentially. So like things like shock cavalry, for example, their role was to incite fear in the enemy, right? To dash in, deal heavy damage, reposition, and do it again, because people's minds would break before their bodies break.
That's a very good quote. Very true.
Yeah, it's something that we really enthused throughout the whole game. So it's not just on the battlefield. On the battlefield, of course, you really need to care about, are you keeping the morale up? What can you do to help flank and keep the morale up of your troops? But even going back to that exploration map, you need to care about upkeeping your troops, make sure they're paid, well-fed. You know, if anyone going into a battle on an empty stomach and no coin in their pocket, they're not going to fight for you very well.
They're not going to be too chuffed.
So you really need to think about that and think about how to keep those men happy and strong and fighting capable.
I love that. You guys have really thought of everything here. I love this. I want to talk about violence because I'm a fan of violence in video games. I'm a fan of violent horror movies and stuff like that. You guys have a really interesting kind of approach here where you're like, we're going to show it, but how deep do you really go into it? Like how violent do things get on the battlefield here?
I mean, historically speaking, it was very violent on the battlefield, of course. So, you know, if we wanted to go deep into that, we absolutely could. We want to find the right balance of non-gratuitous violence for violence sake and find the level that still gives you the satisfaction that you expect from striking someone down and feeling that feedback and feeling that sense of this is a chaotic battlefield. People are losing their lives here, and you feel that like risk and tension within that, but without it just being gore for gore's sake.
Yeah, if you hit an enemy in the face, he will be covered in blood. There will be blood in his chainmail, and when he dies on the ground, there will be a pool of blood, and the field will be littered with corpses. All of this stuff.
Yeah.
But we're not skinning people or anything like this, you know. And some of our executions are fairly grim, you know, taking a poleaxe, hooking someone's leg out from underneath them and stabbing them in the neck.
Yeah.
So all of this, you know, fun video game violence stuff.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a really good balance of being like, all right, we threw violence in there, there's blood everywhere, but it's not like you're just like severing people's body parts flying into the sky and stuff like that. It is still ultimately grounded. And I think that leans into the fact that the art direction of this game is really beautiful and almost painterly. It feels like it's based on old paintings in a way.
Yeah.
And so talk to me a little bit about deciding how you made this game look, because it's very unique and it's very special.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was important to be authentic to the time period as much as possible, right? That's kind of the pillar that we wanted to really uphold. And that is true in terms of landing on an art style that is towards realism, not wanting to, you know, go anything more abstract or cartoony in any way, but without needing to also go into over hyper-realism for hyper-realism's sake. But also throughout the game in terms of UI and 2D art and everything that we have there, we've leaned on a lot of historical methods of fresco painting and things like this, things that really just immerse you within the time period and just give you that little bit of charm for what medieval was like. One thing that a few people have pointed out, and we're very happy people see, is that we really wanted to keep the color of medieval. You know, a lot of like Hollywood has depicted medieval as just gray
Sepia
and beige.
and
we're like, no, it was colorful. The coats of arms that people would wear, the heraldry emblazoned, their arms was super colorful, and we want to make sure that that's there and that you can really see what medieval was like in that way.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really rich time period, and color was very, very important in a lot of ways. Like, it even showed how wealthy you were. You couldn't get purple very easily, so nobles wore purple. And on the field, it mattered because you needed to be able to see who was on your side amongst this chaos of this melee, this really close, brutal combat. Often you could end up fighting somebody who was on your side without knowing if you didn't wear the colors and the heraldry of your noble liege lord, you know? So
I love that.
It's important to bring this color to the game.
Yeah.
No, as like I'm like a big art nerd, and I love going to museums when especially here in Germany and stuff like that. And so the second I saw that your game has a very distinct look to it that's very clearly inspired by paintings, I was like, they're onto something here. Okay, so you hinted at it a little bit in terms of like feeding the soldiers and stuff like that and morale, but what sort of things can the player kind of expect to do outside of the battlefield?
Yeah, so our exploration map is kind of like the other half of our game. It's like the overworld, the more strategic exploration layer. So you come into this medieval sandbox, a lowly, unlanded, can come from nobility background, peasantry background. Character creation will allow you to make those kind of choices. But ultimately, we're letting you loose in the sandbox to go and do as you see fit. So you're going to explore, you're going to trade, you're going to quest, you're going to engage in diplomacy with other characters. And all of these actions are for the player to decide where they want to go, what do they want to be in this world? What legacy do they want to create for themselves? And all of this is in purpose of building up an army, building up, getting titles to land, and being the true claimant to some land, and being able to embark on what you want to do. And building an army, getting your troops is a really important thing. Getting levies from towns, getting household troops from castles, all of these things, you know, we're really modeling in a way that you really need to think. You know, you can't just spawn people out of thin air wherever you want. You need to travel to these lands. You need to visit and talk to people. It's all a big part of the roleplay experience.
Yeah, absolutely. All of the units that you can find, they are region specific. You're not going to find a French Castilier unit, you know, deep in Scotland.
No.
You know, so you have to travel, and traveling is dangerous. You might encounter some bandits. You might find a quest along the way, and you might find yourself distracted. You wanted some Castilier, but you've ended up, you know, raiding a village. You know, it's about things appearing to you as you explore the sandbox, you know, making your own castle from that sand, doing as you please and as you desire as you move through all of these systems and features that we've created for you, such as the feudal hierarchy system. You might pledge allegiance to a new lord. Your lord may be very happy with what you're up to and give you a new title and new land.
Yeah.
So it's all up to you to like kind of write your own story in this medieval Europe we've created for you.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
And it blends perfectly with the battles in, you know, the battles are epic and amazing and super fun to play on their own, but having the stakes going into them from the exploration map, you know, you've got something to lose, something to gain. These men, if you lose them, you're going to have to start from fresh. You're going to have to find new troops to your banner. You know, that stake going into the battle, or that tension that is then passed on to getting victory or not, that's what really makes the battle shine.
Yeah, it's the context, if you like. The battles themselves are beautiful on their own, but the RPG elements, they provide the context, the stakes. You know, if you're fighting the Duke of Valois in Burgundy because you want his land, suddenly that battle carries a lot more meaning.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than the men are dying for something.
This is nuts, by the way. This is all awesome. Like,
Thank you.
Your optimism here is infectious. Like, I did not know there were this many overlapping, interconnecting systems all feeding into the battle. That's just awesome. All right, when can people play this game? Besides, like, I want to play this game right now, but I have to wait, right?
A little bit, not too long. So we're planning to go to Steam Early Access early 2027. And then we're going to be in early access, and we really want to utilize early access to be in concert with community, hearing that feedback, adjusting the game. We want to be very open to that. And we plan to be there as long as we need to be there until we get to 1.0. And then we want to bring it to console and to more players and really land from that point.
Awesome. Well, congrats, guys. I can't wait to play it.
Thanks
Chronicles
so much.
Medieval, go wishlist it right now on Steam. Thank you so much for watching. We got lots more Gamescom Studio ahead here on IGN.